essentially I got into real estate. I didn't go to college. I had a landscaping company out of high school. I graduated high school in 04. Had a landscaping company, ended up selling that in 2007 because I wanted to become a real estate investor. Everybody was flipping homes, through 04, 05, 06, 07. And I was witnessing this happening. And I'm saying to myself, like, there's an easier way to make money. I'm driving around in pickup trucks. I had actually a pretty large company. I had 3 crews running full time. And at the end of the day, I'm like covered in mulch, smell like crap, driving trucks. And it just wasn't worth it for the amount of money that was coming back in. So I'm like, all right, let me get in. Let me start flipping some real estate. Maybe I'll make 50,000 a clip and start doing that. So I went and got my real estate license, June of 2007. That was when the market was really starting to get funky. And then from there, I actually got a job with Foxtons, which I don't know if anybody remembers Foxtons. I decided not to flip real estate. I decided, let me just be a realtor for a little bit, make some money. So I got a job with Foxtons. I think they were paying $35,000 a year. Everybody drove around in Mini Coopers, and then you had like a bonus structure with healthcare, laptop, everything. So it's pretty cool. Day one of training in 2007, I think it was in August, I want to say. It was actually in Monmouth County. They filed for bankruptcy, closed the doors, and I never got to do anything. So this is how my real estate career's kicking off. And I'm like, great. Went to Weichert Realtors from there, was grinding, kind of, applying myself a little bit, but still was, nervous on the phones and everything. 21 years old and trying to like get in with, these $700,000, $800,000 homes, which I just, I didn't have the right mindset for. So I made like $650 that year. Doing one rental, actually left the real estate business. And the reason why I tell you this is I actually failed as a realtor one time. Left the real estate business, got into the car business and was selling Nissans, which I was pretty good at, hated the idea of what I was doing. You're essentially trying to get as much money out of your client's pocket and into your pocket when you're selling cars. Whereas with real estate, we're actually aligning with their goals. We're trying to net them the most amount of money from the sale. We're trying to get the purchase for as low as possible. So you're much more aligned in that aspect. And that's what I like difference wise there. But again, I was good at it. 2008, stock market crash, Lehman Brothers failed, like you name it, shit hit the fan. And here I am again, like, oh crap, what am I going to do now? So I saw an ad on Craigslist that said, make your first make $100,000 a year doing rentals, in real estate. And with that, I ended up coming to Hoboken, October of 08. The economy was collapsing. Lehman Brothers had just failed. And I got into rentals and I started that Friday. I think I did my first rental that Sunday. And then from there, I was making $700 a week and it was all like starting to come back together. So it was like, all right, this feels good. Fast forward to June of 2009. As when I hopped into Mike Ferry coaching. I think, Joe, you're like a Mike Ferry based mindset, right? You're a prospecting.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Cool. So from there, now I'm like 22 years old, 23 years old, and I'm a prospector. I'm going after for sale by owners. David DeVoe was my business partner. We were waking up, we were doing everything perfect. It was 7:30 in the morning, role play, on the phones at 7:55. We'd start with the expireds. We'd go into for sale by owners. We'd do this, boom, 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 boom. And we took 18 listings in the first 12 weeks that we were working with Mike Ferry. Again, this is not a good real estate, a good climate nationwide for real estate. So we actually had a lot of success with for sale by owners. They needed our help. They weren't, the properties weren't moving. But what nobody taught me, and this is Mike Ferry didn't teach me anything in regards to mindset. So I started to have a lot of deals coming together. I was getting traction. Things were going really well. But it was very forceful for me. I didn't like the prospecting aspect of it. And I didn't like that this is the only way to do real estate. This is what you do. Boom, 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 boom. So I'm waking up every morning. I'm not loving it, but I'm doing it. And then from there, a lot of my pipeline just started to fall apart. Nobody taught me how to keep a deal together. They don't teach that in coaching, So I was kind of having that breakdown and I actually I want to say quit for the second time. I went back to rentals. I actually fell out of sales and just went back to what was working. So staying in my comfort world, everything like that, everything's good and comfortable. And I did that till 2013. And then and when I say comfortable, I was still making like 120, 130,000 a year doing rentals. Like you could still make good money in Hoboken doing that. But then I turned 27, met who is now my wife, and started saying, you know what, I need to start making bigger money. So I transitioned back into sales, went on the buy side of things, was still Mike Ferry based, was still prospecting quite a bit. And what I found is that there are so many different ways to earn money or to earn an income in this business. And a lot of people don't coach on them. So Mike Ferry is going to be strictly cold calling, warm calling, whatever you want to call it. FSBOs, you're making all of your money on the phone. There's no need to spend any money on marketing. Tom Ferry coaching, which I'm actually in Tom Ferry coaching right now. They're more of, spending a little, investing in your business, paying a little bit out of pocket. Maps coaching, I never did anything with. I think they're kind of a similar Tom style with a Mike Ferry influence, since that a lot of their coaches were from Mike's background. And then there's also like the celebrity realtor, more of a Rob Dukansky, more of a billboard style. That's heavy marketing. That's inbound only because of outbound marketing. And there's just a lot of different styles within that. As we're seeing people come up, Tara Plaza, who's on my team, she actually makes a decent amount of money from Instagram, like from posting on Instagram. And I'm like, that's a totally new lead lever that people aren't talking about. She really doesn't mind. Like, she enjoys going to take a professional photo shoot for the day and in a blazer, and gets all done up, gets her hair blown out, does a bunch of shots, outfit changes, everything like that. And then she has photos to post along with stories and stuff like that. I would never do that. I hate the idea of that, but that aligns with her. That empowers her. So I'm going to share my screen really quick. Let me show. It's like the quote of the year. I actually saw this on a coffee mug. Can you guys see my screen? I'm going to get a coffee mug that says, can you guys see my screen? Because I say it so much. So this is our deck. This is what we train our team on at the Sikora Group. And sorry, I think I kind of jumped over it a little bit, but 2015, real quick, that's when I started coaching with Matthew Ferry. That's when I got more into the mindset side of things. And I realized that if you actually align with what like empowers you in this business, you're going to like just blow it out of the park. The only reason why if a new agent on here is not making money, or an old agent's not making money, or isn't growing their income, it's because they're not fully aligned with what they want to be doing. If that makes sense. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So essentially what I did, or what we did, and I think there's 17 different things, and we're always adding to this as well. Let me blow it up a little bit. Oop. No, that went the wrong way. Why is that going the wrong way? Whatever. I'm not a tech guy, as you can tell, but I don't even know how to launch a PowerPoint presentation, but I have people for that. We're going to get you to the point where you guys can have people launch PowerPoint presentations for you. And then I just talk.
It was great. Dude. You're doing great. I can see it.
All right, cool. So these are the different ways that we say that you can earn money in this business. And there's probably more out there. We just haven't added it on there. If you take Dan Spitz from my team, he's a really good example. All he does is this just listed, just sold circle prospecting. 100% of his business is from that. He's 25 years old. He came from Chicago, graduated down in Maryland, moved to Tribeca in New York City, and then started working in Hoboken and Jersey City. Last year, his second full year in the business, he did 20 million in sales, brought in $500,000 GCI as a 24-year-old kid, which is insane. He drives a Porsche, by the way. And then this year he did 25 million. There's 2 weeks left in the year. He's landing right around 25 million. Maybe it'll be 26 million. So even through COVID, which Hoboken and Jersey City are his two main markets, we were hit just as bad as New York City with sales. What you're experiencing in Monmouth County, or what you're experiencing in a suburban town, is not what we're having here. If you look at our inventory, it's insanely built up, price reductions left and right. Very difficult to get a listing, very difficult to have anybody swallowing the pill that they own real estate in a place where the price has dropped. The rental market's absolutely awful. We rewound 10 years in rental pricing within 90 days. There's so much inventory. But in that market, he was still able to grow another 5 million with his business. So I bring him up because he chose one of these pillars. And I see so many different agents that say, ooh, I'm going to go, or they go to a Tom Ferry seminar and they say, ooh, I'm going to go do all 17 of these. I'm going to do a little bit of 17 different things. And the reality is I bring Danny up because he's bringing in $600,000 in GCI doing one pillar. So what we're working with Danny on right now is we're adding 2 more pillars to it. I think that you need to be an expert in 2 or 3 lead levers in order to generate like massive amounts of income. And for me, mine were always sphere of influence, past clients. I was good with Visbos and stuff like that. Past rental prospecting, that was an enjoyable one for me. What I would actually do, because of that rental background, I really understood it well. We'd go into the MLS and we'd pull leases that happened 9 months ago. And then we would pull the data on them and we just call the landlord and say, hey, it's Brett Sikora with EXP. I just wanted to reach out because I know you rented your property per the MLS about 9 months ago. Is the lease coming up? Are they planning to renew, or would you ever consider cashing out if you could get the right number for it? What's nice about that is they'll say yes, no. You're either going to get the rental, because landlord agents suck. So it's a very easy thing to like go in and take their business. So you're either going to get the rental. They're going to tell you they're not looking to sell, or they're going to tell you they're looking to sell. What's nice about the not looking to sell is then you pivot into, well, are you looking to buy more real estate? Are you looking to, like, are you a professional landlord? Is this running really well? And what's good, if they're not looking to buy more real estate, then they start to trip up on their words a little bit. And you start to realize there actually is a problem there, because anybody who owns real estate and things are going well, they're always going to answer that they want to buy more real estate. So just becoming an expert in like 2 to 3 of these things is what's going to really enhance it. And when you're picking these things, look at it and say, all right, so sphere of influence, I freaking love, I love talking to my friends. I love talking, to my family. I love having conversations around real estate. I don't mind getting like on the phone and shooting a video and saying, what's up, Joe? It's Brett Sikora. I just want to wish you a happy holiday. I hope everything's going well in your home. I hope you're safe. I hope your family's good. Really appreciate your business and any business that you've sent us. Have a good year, or have a good holiday, blah, blah, blah. If you have no issues doing that, then you could do sphere. But I know people that don't like talking to their family members. Melissa Machette out of Las Vegas, she doesn't like hitting up people she knows for business, but she can go FSBOs all day long. She can call a probate all day long. And I don't know if you guys know what a probate is, but that's essentially somebody has passed away. The property goes into probate. You're kind of like an ambulance chaser. That's a tough phone call. So if you're going, I can't make that call, you're probably not a probate prospector. But if you're looking at it, we're like, yeah, it doesn't bother me. Cool. Go heavy on probate. Farming is obviously a big thing as well with mailers. Dan Beer, he came and presented. I don't know if you guys know Dan Beer, but if you're at EXP, you think about joining EXP or not even at EXP, it doesn't make a difference. Dan's an open book. We can plug you into him as well, but he has this whole postcard mailing system, everything. They're doing 300 million a year in transactions, and it's like a $6 million, $7 million dollar GCI team that he runs. They're doing it from a farming aspect where some really good mail goes out. And I think they're doing, I want to say it's twice a month or something, but his farm's like 30,000 houses or something. And his whole thing with farming too is if what you're sending doesn't make you uncomfortable, like if you don't feel like you're going to get reported, or obviously don't do anything illegal, but you want that message to have a little bit of a hook to it. You want it to be the thing that might piss off another realtor in the neighborhood, or it might be, along the lines of that. Like I posted on LinkedIn, for instance. I actually use social media quite a bit too for this, but I posted on LinkedIn, if your realtor has trouble with online signatures or with digital signatures, just think about what they're not using to market this property properly in 2020 with all the technology available to get your home the most amount of exposure. That lit older realtors on fire. Like they were so pissed off at me. They were commenting. They were all like arguing with each other within it. I actually ended up deleting the post, but I got like 70 something likes from people prior to that. That's something that's like, the message is clear to the consumer. They get it. They know what I meant by that. But I really pissed off a lot of realtors doing it. That's one of those, like, that's a marketing piece that has that hook. It makes you a little bit uncomfortable. You're kind of like, it's going to piss some people off, but you know what? I care about me and I care about my clients. So that would be an example of that. Facebook groups, next door, investors, like talking on that side of things. There's a lot of investor groups too, where people need stuff there. Networking groups as well, talking to hard money lenders, like door knocking. If you're comfortable with door knocking, my favorite way to door knock is if you're having an open house, and these two can kind of go hand in hand. If you're having an open house from 1 to 3 in a neighborhood, get there 11 to 12, go around with door hangers or go around with some sort of flyer and just knock on their door and actually invite them to the open house. It's a lot less, it's a lot more lax in regards to that, as opposed to just saying, hey, would you ever consider selling or something like that? Or we're just knocking through the neighborhood, especially during COVID times. So if you were to door knock, I always enjoyed it that way. I would pair it up with open houses. And then, obviously online lead gen, that's like Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, Facebook ads, if you're running like any of that paid spend. And then you just have to be an expert at converting, an expert at follow-up, an expert at kind of all of that. So that's my choosing business around, what's going to actually empower you, what's actually going to make you get out of bed in the morning. Like, look at this list and figure out what your 2 or 3 things are. Tackle like one of them, become an absolute expert in them, and then start moving along from there. What I'll never discount is action. Everything is going to go around an action-based plan. For us on our team, we do 10 contacts per day. If you do more than that, we actually expect you to do more than that. But if you only do 10, we're okay with that. And any of these items can generate 10 contacts per day. So that's like, we lowered the bar. We want that repetitious boredom of 5 days of prospecting. But if you're actually doing, if you're on Facebook, for instance, or Tara's a good example. Again, we'll go back to her. If she's on Instagram, it's not difficult for her to send a DM to people in her Instagram list. She has 7,000 followers or whatever. She just, hey, what's up? It's Tara checking in. I know you follow me on Instagram, blah, 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 blah. Something, I don't know what she says. It doesn't have to be something crazy though. The point is she's taking that action where, there's 10 contacts per day. And if you're having a good day of contacts, you'll probably go up to 25 or 30. If you're having a bad day, you only have to do 10. What's that,
Brett? Would you recommend, if someone wants to dive into one of these, would you recommend that they so if I wanted to figure out social media, should I find someone that's doing it really well and reach out to them and kind of model what they're doing? Or should I figure it out on my own?
I would. So and there's a lot of different ways to go with that. Like Jeff Talbot, it's Geoff. I don't know if any of you know him. He's actually been on one of my masterminds. He does like free social media trainings. And they're all about engaging your audience and stuff, asking the right questions. Facebook's his only tool that he really uses. But that's, he's a good person for that. I would be careful too, though, with just reaching out to anybody, because there's a lot of agents that they have 40,000 followers on Instagram, but then you pull them up on Zillow and they sell 2 homes per year. So that person doesn't know how to actually turn that audience into income. And be careful with that, because there's also a lot of people that are just purchasing leads. Like they want to look like a celebrity leaning up against a Maserati, but they make $80,000 a year. That's, whereas my whole thing is I want to make Maserati money and I don't want anybody to even know who I am. Like I like to be a ghost behind the scenes, like any agent on my team, all their listings, everything, it's all in their own name. I don't care. I'm not doing this for ego. So, but yeah, so yes, I would grab somebody that is doing social in a strong way, kind of partner up with them or pick their brain. There's a lot of courses and stuff on it too. And there's a lot of strategy around developing that and building that audience around social, which I'm not an expert. I don't know, but I do know if you go to like Naeem Boucher, do you guys know Naeem? He's in our downline here at EXP. He's out of Essex County. I've actually coached him for a while. He has a BMW i8. It's the flat, like he goes flashy. And we joke because he pays $1,800 a month for that i8, but that i8 has sold such a dream. Like his whole thing is rent hacking. So he brings these young investors in who never thought they could buy a home, sells them a 3-family in Newark or Patterson or something, starts to teach them about cap rates and everything. Before you know it, they're starting to buy like 2 or 3 more. So his whole image aligns with like came from nothing. Now I have an I-8 and I own a bunch of multifamily properties and blah, 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 blah. Like his story aligns with it. And he actually sells a lot of homes too. So yeah, I mean, the I-8's been like paid for just from being able to shoot footage around that I-8. I'm not saying go lease an I-8, but if you look at his Instagram, it's very like there's a very similar theme. You get on his page, they all have there's a very like branded play with it. Whereas if you look at my Instagram, it's like a nice steak I had for dinner, my wife, then a hike I went on. Maybe I'll throw up a house. You know, like nobody knows I'm a realtor in my Instagram is my point. There's no like actual direct, there's no direct message happening there. But his is very, very to the point. And that's the whole thing. He's an absolute expert at that and he owns it.
Brett, what are your top 3 in your whole organization? You personally, and then in your organization, where do the top 3 lead sources come from?
So we actually just went over this yesterday. I went over this with my coach. The top 3 are sphere of influence. Actually, number 1, this is interesting, and it's because I kind of grew up as a hunter, and I've trained as a hunter. But our number 1 is just listed, just sold circle prospecting.
Great. Can you talk about that? Where have you guys seen success in that? Because you hear a lot of limiting beliefs, right? Like that doesn't work or whatever that looks like. Can you talk about that? Like where have you seen success in that?
Yeah. So my favorite opener, and it has been for quite some time, and it still works in most markets. Hoboken, Jersey City, we have to tweak it up a little bit. But my favorite opener, like in the burbs or in a bidding war style market, is hey, and it could be anybody's listing, guys. Just it doesn't have to be your own listing. It could be anybody at EXP. Just tell them you're going to call around their listing, and nobody's going to care because they're not going to be the one calling. Or reach out to us if you need a listing, but grab a property that had a bidding war, and we'll call and we'll just say, hey, it's Brett Sikora with EXP Realty. Just want to give you a shout because we just put 123 Main Street in contract with a total of 6 offers. Well over asking, which means there's 5 people still looking to pay a record price in your neighborhood. Would you ever consider selling if we could get you the right number? And like that opener is you're actually calling them. I tell people, be careful. Don't call saying you have buyers. It gets you into a trap. You're stuck there. You want to call as in you're the person that knows how to create the marketing plan to get them 6 offers to choose from. So those other 5 people, they're going to then ask, sometimes they'll ask like, was one of them your buyers? Like, no, we generated on the listing side. That's our goal. We're listing agents, we're listing specialists. So we want to walk through what we're going to do to make sure that you get those same results. And then you can pick from 6 different offers. Potentially we can really play around with the terms and get you something that works really well for whatever it is you're looking to accomplish. We meet tomorrow at 10 or blah, blah, blah. We're doing a lot of meetings via Zoom right now too. I love not going to the house and getting the listing. So that's like probably our number 1, way to align with the seller on that and have an opener that doesn't just get you hung up on. Another really good one for just listed, just sold, circle prospecting is you can call, if you have the actual buyer, if you have a buyer looking for something, it really is a good time to do off market and try to put off market deals together. And if you don't have a buyer, find out somebody on your team that does have somebody that needs something, somebody who's lost out on a bunch of bidding wars, but is like putting, their best foot forward. And I like mentioning the person's name in it too. Like if you're calling and saying, hey, my clients, Mike and Jenny, they've been, they've lost out on 3 bidding wars specifically in your neighborhood. They need a 4-bed. They need to move. They have a baby on the way and they're coming from Hoboken, Jersey City. There's like 0 inventory out. Would you ever consider selling if we could get you the right number? And just throw out, like, I tell them, like, give me your make me move number. Like, I don't care. Let me at least present it to them. And if it makes sense for you to move it, that great. And if not, then that's fine too. But you're starting to get into that like rapport with them, not having like an attachment to, getting the listing, that sort of thing as well. And you'll naturally probably get the listing too, like from that. Like all of these activities are just to get listings, but you're leading in with it not as much, like you're not just calling saying, hey, would you want to sell your home?
Cool. Hey, Brett, what's number two?
Number two for us was well, close to a sphere of influence, and then online lead gen. We're pretty darn good with Zillow, and I know people bash it, but I'm not against Zillow personally.
Okay. Let's talk about this. How do you stay in front of your sphere of info? Like if you're a new agent and you think like you're a connector, you talk to people, a good amount of people know you, like you, and trust you. What do I do next? And I'm getting my real estate license. Like, how do I make those people think of me when it comes to real estate?
So in regards to honestly, it takes time, but it for sphere of influence, the first thing I did in 2009, the first activity that I had was Mike Ferry had me calling through my cell phone. Literally every single person in my cell phone. I was calling guys that own pool companies that I worked for when I was 14 years old. I was calling girls from high school that we did not get along with each other. And I use that as an example because Lauren Haller was her. She was probably, one of the people I really didn't want to call in my phone. And then she said, yeah, my boyfriend's actually looking to buy. Private equity guy bought a house for me in Weehawken and went under contract. So I would say if you're brand new, and I say, hey, call literally every single person. There might be 2,500 or 3,800. I don't know how many people are in here. I don't care if it says, like, I have Angel from Siesta Key. I don't know who Angel from Siesta Key is. It was probably a drunk late night where I thought it was a good idea on vacation to swap numbers with a guy I'm never going to talk to again until I got my real estate license. And then I say, what's up, Angel? It's Brett Sikora with eXp Realty. You're in my phone for some reason. It says Angel from Siesta Key. I guess I met you at like 2 a.m., but I wanted to give you a shout to kind of touch base and say, like, you can open it up in a joking way, but it's a natural conversation. It's not.
Can I tell you, but man, so people be like, agents get like frozen, right? The new agents, they're like, and I'm telling you guys, like the first deals, if you have a personality and people know you, like you, and trust you, that's where you're like, that's the shortest line between you and your first deal, right? And I remember I had to call through this, like Facebook, Instagram, whatever, like get all those people and just reach out to them. They're like, well, what if they tell me like to get lost, or what if like they're mean to me or whatever? Like, then they're not in your database, bro. Like, that's cool. We can cross that. Like someone called, so a lead I've been following up with yesterday was like, yo, you keep calling me. I'm not interested. I'm never listing my house with you. That would hurt some people's feelings. I was like, psyched. I never have to call them again. I have a clear answer from these people that this was like an internet lead that inquired about they reached out to us, and then I finally got them. But the cool thing is when I started calling through my phone, and people one day I was like, hey, like a college roommate or something. I'm like, dude, hey, Mike, I got to apologize, man. I haven't called you in like 4 years. Isn't that crazy? And he's like, yeah, but what's up? Like, that was it, man. And that like took away all of the weirdness. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'll give you an example too. Since we came to EXP, we came to EXP. I had to go get my broker's license. We were in a spring market. Like, it was like, looking back, I fired my one admin that Friday, came to EXP that Monday, moved an office, moved 14 agents out of it. Like, it was the dumbest thought out thing I've ever done in my life. It was the best decision I ever made in my life, but it was not well thought out. I'm like, no, I'll be the transaction coordinator in the interim. I score high on that in the KPI. I got this, guys. And I'm like, forgot that I had to do 150 hours of real estate school and still sell homes and still onboard people to EXP and blah, blah, blah. But point being is my whole database, my past clients got neglected for the last 2 years. That's my opener. That's me calling and say, hey, Mark, I apologize, man. Ended up switching to EXP, became the managing broker. My life went nuts in a completely different way, a good way, in the last 2 years. But I realize I haven't talked to you for quite some time. So I just want to give you a quick shout, check in. How is everything? How's the family? How's 72 South Street in Jersey City? Anything you need, let me know. And I apologize for letting it go this long without reaching out to you.
Right. And I want to say to anyone that's new, like for me, when I was a single agent, like Brett has a very large organization. By the way, congratulations, Brett. I've seen Brett, his business hit the hockey stick, man, and he's really crushing it. Just somebody I really respect, and I'm so psyched to be aligned with you. But Brett has a large business, man. The reason why circle prospecting is number one in his business is because he had to get really purposeful. So I'm sure for a lot of people, sphere of influence is where a lot of this business comes from at first. And so a lot of agents will say, I swear to God, like my first deal was like, I remember my best friend's mom, like she was toying with buying an investment property, and she was like, oh, Joe got his real estate license. Maybe, like I know she bought a house. She was doing well, but I know she was like, let's get Joe a sale. Like, let's get Joe going. Like she like pushed me into the wave, like,
Yeah.
And it was cool. And a lot of it is, yeah. And agents will be like, or new agents will say like, just remember, guys, it's not about you, right? Like, it's not about you. Like, that's the thing. And that's part of our mission statement, right? Our mission statement at the Joe Oz Group is, we're here to help our clients achieve their goals while helping our team members achieve theirs. And what that means is we're putting other people in front of us. So agents will say, like, they'll work on their script. Like, how do I tell them that I'm a realtor and ask them for business? Like, that's not what we're call them and just say hello. Because the cool thing is real, like whatever you're up to and your occupation are going to come up organically in the conversation. If I'm like, hey, Brett, what's up, dude? I just wanted to call and say, hey, we haven't talked in forever. Or, however I know you, what's going on, man? How's the family? Let them talk. It's really that easy, man. And don't overthink it.
Yeah. So two things I was just thinking of as well. And I don't know, I'm scrolling through people on here. So if I'm going to assume everybody seems to be like around the age where people are at least like their friends and family are purchasing properties too, which sphere of influence is a hell of a lot easier than like at that. Like I was 21. So when I was doing it, it had to be like the girl that was in my grade, her boyfriend was 29 in private equity. Like that's where it spawned out. But it gets even like, if you're at least 25, 26, where like people are starting to buy and sell, it just gets insanely easier. And coincidentally, our team meeting with my own team on Tuesday, it was all around sphere of influence and past clients. If you can't dominate that, like that is the easiest thing in my opinion to do. But Dan Spitz, who I brought up earlier, he had zero sphere of influence because he was from Chicago. It's zero past clients. He was brand new. He just graduated from college. So he had to lean in heavily on just sold circle prospecting. And then that's where we're building up the other pillars from that. Now that he's getting older, he's 25 years old now. And we're starting to develop all of that too. But you just have to lead with value when you're reaching out to all of these people, regardless of which way you pick. Always lead with value and don't have an attachment to whatever happens on that phone call. Whether he tells you to screw off, whether he tells you, hey, I want to do this, or I'm listening with my friend, or blah, 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 or I did, like, none of it matters unless you have an attachment to that. I called that person. Now they owe me a listing. Like, get that out of your head. Or I followed up with that past buyer or that client for 14 months, and then they bought through somebody else. The nerve of them. What the hell? They probably bought through somebody else because you expected them to buy from you. Like, you have it in your head that they owe you something, and that is not true at all. So the second you release that, you're going to attract more business to that as well. Like, what's interesting for me is, and I heard this and it really stuck with me from Patrick Southern, a really big Mike Ferry agent up by us in Hoboken. He said, I may lose a sale, but I'll never lose a client. So this is a marathon, guys. This is I've been at this since 2007. It didn't really even start to like click where big money started happening until 2016 or so. But go at it with that mindset. Oh shoot, you ended up buying a house already? Awesome. Well, where'd you land? How was he, like, what happened? Tell me about it. If you can get that address, I guarantee if you can follow up better than that other agent that sold them the home follows up, you're going to get that listing when it comes around the next time. If you handle that, like, what's a lot of people take it as like, you piece of crap. If you handle that in a really cool way, like, shit, you got something awesome. Was it a bidding war, or how to, like, just go right into it and then boom, follow up and go get that. Like, don't lose that client. You lost the sale. Don't lose the client. So that's kind of like my 2 cents on just having that right mindset behind this whole thing. Nobody owes you anything.
That's good advice, man. Dude, that just happened to us. We, client just, it's our fault. Like, we didn't stay in front of them. They went and bought something. Actually, I think they might have bought it for sale by owner. So it might've been even more, a little bit more sticky, but, we stayed in touch with them, and they just, Sam, the lady that you worked, Mizak, right? Like that lady came from them. She like was like,
Oh yeah.
We got referred. She's like, hey guys, like we just stay in front of them. We invite them to our client events, all those things. And it was like, oh, that's awesome. You found the house. Cool. That's rad. But like, yeah, we in our industry, people in general in our industry, we like to use victim language, right? Like when we see the Cobalt Banker sign 2 doors down from our house, like I'm the king of that, dude. Like the street I live on, when a neighbor lists with like, you know, Keller Williams, I'm like, oh my God, why didn't, like, it's on me, man. Like I didn't stay in touch with them, right? Like I wasn't, you know, whatever, or whatever. They weren't comfortable about it. Let's do this, Brett. I'm gonna we're at 40 minutes after the hour. Let's go. I want to ask you about like any advice you have for like new agents. That's kind of what you're getting into here, but anything like you would do immediately if you were a brand new agent. And then also then I'm just going to kind of open it up for questions, because I feel like this was a really great presentation, man. And I'm going to open it up for questions a little bit earlier than we normally do. But yeah, man, new agents, what would you tell them? Like, what works, what doesn't work? What would you have done differently if you were starting over right now?
Cool. So we're in my new agent deck right now. This is literally what I train on, guys. Just so everybody, I'm showing this is what's cool about what we do here, you know, or what Joe and I are the way we were brought into this whole system.
Would you share this with us? Can we get this to everyone?
Yeah, I'll email it to you. Yeah, I'll email it to you afterwards. So this is like actually my deck. So the first 14 days, this is where we are. You want to be shadowing somebody that, and don't mind the typos and stuff like that. I had this made on in Pakistan for $5 an hour or whatever via Upwork. But yeah, you know, shadowing stuff like that. Joe, that's what essentially what you're mentioning. If you know somebody's good on Instagram, go get around them, be in their world, like be nosy, go be nosy.
This is me and Catherine on Saturday. That's what we're doing. We're doing it for 2 hours. Yeah. She's going to shout at me. That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. And previewing. I think that having market knowledge is so freaking important, because when you're having a drink at that bar then, and somebody just naturally brings up something, like I can just rattle off like inventory. I can just rattle off stats. Somebody can tell me where they live in Hoboken, which is my main market. I'll be like, what's the address? I know it's an elevator building. I know this, I know that. I just know, like, I'm a vault of information in my head. So it makes the conversation so much easier. So I would definitely preview, you know, 5 to 10 apartment buildings per week. You don't have to go, I mean, we say buildings because we're in a condo market, but 5 to 10 homes per week. You don't have to go crazy, but just go grab something in different areas. Understand what the differences are, because when you're having that conversation and you get that one shot at it, if you know that there's a great room off of that floor plan that they're mentioning in these townhomes or something like that, it's so much better versus, you know, versus like 319 grand in Hoboken. I got a call from a seller last weekend. It was just to come list me. And he was unit 3. My buddy Jeff lived in unit 4, directly above him, same floor plan, anything. It just instantly put me right into rapport with them. But yeah, building your database. This is the whole, like, pick 2 to 3 of these. This goes into the team minimum is 10 contacts per working day. 80% of your focus should be on lead generation. As a new agent, guys, you have to understand the difference between income servicing and income producing activities. If you're joining a team, you should mainly be in that income producing activity sort of thing. If you're a single agent, you're going to unfortunately have to be your own assistant for a little bit. You're going to have to wear a lot of hats. Understand what that looks like and be writing out daily activities on lists of what you're doing. So income producing, income servicing. You want to stay as far away from this stuff as possible, because this is $18 an hour. Like if I built this deck, if I make $1,000 an hour and I paid somebody $5 an hour to build this deck, it would have cost me $995 an hour if I was the one who put this together. So I stay in this world. This is where you want to stay. And that's like, understand the difference. You're going to feel like you're working in this world. It's all admin work. It feels good. It feels good to schedule appointments. It feels good to write a contract. You're losing a lot of money doing that. Trust me. Pipeline management, log calls. So we're big on tracking numbers too. You need to understand what your ratios are. How many DMs do you have to shoot out on Instagram? How many posts do you have to post in order to have this happen? How many for sale by owners do you need to contact? How many for sale by owners do you need to dial to get a certain number of answers? And then how many answers do you need, contacts, in order to actually get an appointment? And then how many appointments do you need to go on in order to actually get a listing? And how many listings do you need to actually have a listing sell and get you paid? these numbers are super important because you need to understand, are you having an issue with your presentation? Are you having an issue with your activities? Are you not calling enough people? I see so many people that also get into that contact high where they're like, hey, I hit my contacts. Hey, I hit my contacts. Hey, I hit my contacts. And if you look back on a month, they're not setting appointments. So the issue is they're not asking for the business. They're rubbing somebody the wrong way there. Data is very important. And even if it's not fun to put it together, or you don't like it, or even if you didn't call one day, you got to put a goose egg in there. You got to put 0 because it's all going to come into these numbers. And when you're really, really peeling back the layers of the onion, that's what you need to know. And then this just goes into, leverage, closing, gifts, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
This is important. Make sure that you have all your brand new agent. Make sure you have Zillow, TrulyARealtor.com. Have all that set up. Start looking for reviews. There's so many times that we'll do. I do this all the time. And as you become a better agent and your numbers get better, I'll grab this on a listing presentation and I'll be like, listen, we're super busy. Like my Zillow's stacked. It's 245 reviews. There's 155, sales in the last 12 months. Like I know that if I can drive somebody to Zillow, I then tell the other, and whatever realtor I'm up against, make sure you pull them up on Zillow too. I just want to make sure that they have the track record to net you the most amount of money for the sale of this home. I know that's such a good way to separate that. So I'm not saying that's good for new agents because you're not going to look good up against somebody like this, but that all started getting built a long time ago. And any of these senior agents on here can tell you reviews, continue to get them, make sure that they're just constantly coming in, so that you're, like Terra Plaza, 12H, she had a review come in. Look no further, just keep feeding that bank of reviews.
And hey, Brett, if I never sold anything, but I showed my friend a couple houses, can they review me? Yeah,
absolutely.
Cool.
Guys, of these 245, I probably have a couple family members in there. We're not being recorded right now, but do whatever you have to do,
Hello, Zillow. I was just talking to Brett. His mom's in the review section.
But here, this is a good example. Ken Polanski, he has 6 reviews, brand new agent with us. And I don't know what's not showing up.
That's what happens, man. If you sit in open house, guys, you have no deals right now. Like if you meet someone and they're like, oh, cool. And you start working with them and show them some houses, they can review you. I want everyone to kind of know that. Let's do this, man. We have another 13 minutes. I want to respect everyone's time. Brett, that was awesome. Did you guys get some value out of that? Someone say yes out loud.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Cool. So we're going to open it up to questions, man. Brett, anyone, questions, anybody want to?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
My name's Will. I'm the ISA, which I started a couple months ago. But you mentioned, thank you. This has been super helpful, but you mentioned that your agents are looking to make 10 contacts a day. I'm curious, we're huge on number tracking as well. Curious how many calls your agents are making to hit those 10 contacts a day. And then also curious how you guys define a contact. I'm in MAPS training right now, and I know Anna, the trainer, defines a contact as essentially if you pick up the phone, they know you're with a real estate company, and they answer and you talk to them, that's a contact. So I'm curious how you guys define a contact.
Yeah. So if you're doing, it depends on what you're calling. So outbound calls won't have to be nearly as high if you're calling for sale by owners, because a lot of owners will put their cell phones there. We'll PEC dial those. We'll just dial those by hand. If we're hopping, we use Mojo as our dialer.
Yes.
If we have a good list the first time through, our answer rate's 12, 13% or so. So we're getting 12 to 13 answers, conversations per 100. If you were just an ISA, if that's your job, and I don't know how you guys run your team or anything, but within ours, you should be having 50 contacts a day. I mean, that all you have to do is talk to people all day and tee up appointments. So we count a contact as a conversation. They can hang up the phone, they can scream at you. It doesn't make a difference. Because if we counted peaceful conversations that people wanted to work with us, then it would skew the numbers in just a weird way. So yeah, we count that. And then that way you'll know as an ISA, okay, I always joke. Can I curse on here, by the way? Is anybody offended by cursing? Okay.
Go for it.
All right. So I always say 99, you have to have 99 people tell you to go fuck yourself. And then the 100th one, you make $10,000. It's really not that bad. It's like, okay, who's going to tell me that next? Like, let me hear it. Okay, cool. All right. Now I'm at 99. Next one, I should make 10 grand. Like, it's really we have it broken out like that where we focus on the failure aspect of it. And know that the win comes,
And that's all on cold calling too, you guys. That's not your database, right? Like, that's something different. We're talking about Will hits the phones and just cold calls all day long. And so
you need new friends if that is your database.
Good question, Will.
Yeah. Did I answer everything? I didn't miss anything from that, did I?
Oh,
Okay.
No, that was good. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, that's I think the most contacts I've ever seen, and I know KW had like the bold 100 and stuff. Dan Spitz actually did a bold 100, like sitting next to me. I think he had 100 contacts in one day. It took him like 9 hours of dialing through a new list on a triple line. So
what's a bold 100 for people that don't know?
It's 100 contacts per day, and most Keller Williams agents completely lie about doing it, and that's why that course has zero integrity.
All right.
Yeah.
What other questions do we have?
But I got a question. I'm just looking at your deck, which is awesome. Thanks for sharing this. Everything you've shared with us was extremely helpful. I'm seeing like the one slide you're on for a while. It said like first 14 days. Then I see obviously 30, 60, 90 days on there.
Yep.
If someone's starting like a new stream, I'll just use myself. Like, I door knocked for the first time 2 weeks ago. So I'm like 2 weeks into attempting that approach. Where are you documenting success? Are you looking at what a month looks like, 3 months?
Yeah. So that's a good question. I'll use Dan Spitz as an example again, because he's a robot. It took him 7 months of dialing to get his first listing because he was 22 years old. That is like a worst case scenario in my opinion. He was just not mature enough on the phone. The action was there, but we had to consistently work on the skill set. I had to have him out previewing properties and stuff like that. So with that, I'd be looking back at a month, but don't kick yourself if you're not getting the results that you want, because this can take a little bit of time if you're door knocking. Door knocking is more of a nurture style business, just so you know. Right. Somebody called me, David Finale, who's a coach in our world. He called me, and I think he called a couple other agents, and he said, Brett, it was on a Tuesday. He goes, Brett, if I held a gun to your head and you needed to get a listing by Friday, what are you doing? I said, for sale by owner. That's now business. And coincidentally, the two other mega agents he asked all said for sale by owner. So if you need today business, it's not going to come from door knocking. It's going to come from for sale by owner. So if I was going prospecting based, my Mike Ferry world, it's expireds first. You're hitting those at 8 a.m. I would get into for sale by owners from there. And then I would start going into the door knocking just listed, just sold scripts from there, because that's going to be more of your nurture. You need that cocktail of all of it combined to create a really good, sustainable business. And you need the right CRM too. That's one thing I have not mentioned at all on this call yet. You need to make sure that you have not the right CRM, any CRM. You need, it could be an Excel spreadsheet. It could be KV Core, which we have at EXP here. You saw me click on it. We actually use Boomtown. So all of our leads are in here. But yeah, there's you need to have the right CRM. You need to start building that machine with a follow-up plan. So if you're going to door knock, awesome. Make sure that, like I said, become an expert with it. You know what your action plan is going to look like going forward from there. You're going to put them on a drip campaign so that they're getting sold data or listing, like, what are you going to do? What's the nurture step with it?
Right. Yeah. That's where I'm at now. Like I said, 2 weeks in, and it's actually shown some relatively quick success, like some traction. So it's interesting to see that. Was it Dan was his name, right? It went 7 months, but yeah. That's helpful.
And that too, with the data too, when you're looking back at it, if you know that, okay, I'm going to knock on 200, let's say you knock on 400 doors in a month and you get 2 listings from it and one of them sells and you make $10,000, then okay, well, what if I knock on 800 doors this month? Am I going to make $20,000? Right. And again, I don't care if you only do one of them either. If you become a pro at door knocking, then you better be the best damn door knocker in the United States,
Yeah.
What else you guys got?
We got a couple more minutes left here. Anyone else have a question, or should we jump to ahas? Brett, thanks for being here, man. This was awesome. I had a couple people hit me up asking for this deck. Brett, we're going to reach out to you to ask you for the deck. And then if anyone would like a copy of that deck that Brett was just using, just email admin, admin at joazgroup.com. We'll just send it to you, man. That's awesome. So we come from a culture of sharing. Again, we believe that no one succeeds alone. So we do this every Thursday. We'll have a ton of going into the new year. We've booked a lot of really, really awesome guests to come on and train with us. If you guys have topics that you guys want, just shoot me a message. You guys know how to get a hold of me. Just let me know what you guys want to train on. This is for you guys. It's not for me to talk or for Brett to talk or anything like that. This is for you guys, and we just want to bring value. Really, that's what we want to do. Like, it's really helping others succeed is a big part of what we do, and that's really the fun part of this. I'm gonna let's share two ahas. We share ahas because you might have heard something that someone else didn't hear, or you might have heard something differently. So come from the heart of a teacher and someone share something that you learned today.
I've got one. I think the whole "you can lose a sale but don't lose a client" is like one of the better things I've heard in a while. It makes so much sense. And then the other thing for me, just like in the world that I live in, just becoming an expert in 2 to 3 lead levers to make a ton of money is what you really need to be focusing on.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Someone else, share an aha. What did you learn today?
Well, yeah, that you can't like be all over the place. Like if you want to do all of them, you're not going to be as successful as if you focus on one.
Yeah, concentrate on your one thing, right?
Yeah.
Gary Keller would say you should have three lead generation levers. That's it. And you should start with one. And then once you master that one, move on to the others. A big aha I had, which Brett, I'm going to text you. I'm going to get on with you. I know Will Hickey probably had the same aha. Like you said 50 contacts a day. If that's all you're doing, like our contact lists are, our contacts are not that high, man. I'm going to get with you. I know that you have a couple tricks up your sleeve about, getting some better lists of numbers. And I'm going to contact you on that, man. Anyone else want to share an aha before we wrap up on time today? How cool is that?
I like the
I got one more. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, showdown. Derek in Los Angeles, you're next.
I like the idea of contact high, like not getting complacent and just talking to people, actually following up and getting the appointment and getting the meeting. That was super cool.
Awesome. And then Sam, did you have another one?
Yeah. You can lose a sale, but don't lose the client. That was great. I've had some past friends buy some houses, and I was like, shit. But just keep in touch with them, be happy for them, and get them next time.
That's perfect. Awesome. All right, guys. Cool. Thanks everyone for joining. Again, if you'd like that deck, or if you need anything or comments or whatever, even a topic to train on, just email admin at joazgroup.com, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for coming. Brett, thanks for joining us, man. That was awesome.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
And I already emailed it over to you. So just forward it along and go from there.
Thank you, dude.
Thanks,
Great.
Brett.
It was great.
Thanks, Brett.
Later, guys.
It was great.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.